Kenya will host an anti-terror conference involving all the neighbouring countries and at least 20 other African countries and 16 European nations to find a working formula to contain the al-Shabaab. Now, this news came as the Interior Ministry announced that 85 radicalised youth have surrendered to the government. Here's KTN's Sam Ogina, who begins this edition of Friday Briefing with that story.
Smarting from a spate of attacks by the al-Shabaab militants, the Interior Ministry pointed sharing of a common border with Somalia to the susceptibility of the attacks. To combat this, the country will be holding a regional conference next month on countering violent extremism.
We hope, as we build on the White House summit, to increase, through this deliberation, our ability to improve our response capability. We hope to deepen awareness and collaboration within the region and beyond.
The three-day conference scheduled for June 25th to 27th will explore avenues to be employed to address radicalization and other tenets associated with terrorism. The conference comes against the backdrop of increased terror threats and attacks in the country, as well as increased levels of recruitment and radicalization of Kenyan youth to join and execute al-Shabaab terror activities. A series of attacks have exposed the country's homeland security, the latest being the Garissa College siege that left 148 dead.
We are seeing infiltration in areas that we had considered safe in terms of radicalization. And therefore, the whole notion of countering violent extremism is linked inextricably to our challenge of combating the threat of terrorism that is upon us today.
Following the siege and subsequent amnesty to radicalized youth, the Interior Ministry now says a total of 85 radicalized youth have so far surrendered to the authorities and are now undergoing rehabilitation under the National Counter-Terrorism Center. And that despite the lapsing of the amnesty period, the ministry is still pardoning those handing themselves to the authorities.
On the response of the amnesty, I extended to the radicalized youth which have gotten themselves involved with al-Shabaab. Yes, I can say here, the response is very positive. The response is very good.
But as the amnesty period yields 85, northeastern leaders are still under focus for backtracking on their word to expose sympathizers and financiers of the terror group. Sam Ogina, KTN.